On the operating side is the problem.
Right.
I will tell you right now, anybody that knows how to operate a computer, you can go on there, you can check coal prices in all areas on this planet. You can look at natural gas prices, which is available everywhere. You know, you can see those fuel prices. Now, specifically to the power companies, I will tell you that I've looked at this myself. Natural gas prices have probably as low as they have ever been, and have been low for years and years. The price of coal did have a big spike, pretty dramatic spike. I will be fair and admit that it went from $30 a metric ton to a little over $100 a metric ton, but it was a very quick spike up and a very quick spike down. Now, as Deborah was saying, when you look at your power bill, and this is all part of the education side of it, look very carefully and you'll see that your bill is split on the fuel cost and then on the maintenance side. Well, one of the problems that comes in with this is on the maintenance side. If you can't see the books,
correct.
If you don't know how many pickup trucks, how many expansions, how many telephone poles, how many employees, all that kind of stuff.
How many CEO bonuses,
et cetera. Special stock options, all of that. If you can only see half of the books, that's part of the problem right there. The Public Services Commission has access, just like I do, to look at the fuel prices. Right. They can see the trends. They know where it's going. At a click of a mouse, they can find all of that stuff and make a reasonable assumption. And I started watching this. I even sent an email one time to the Public Services Commission, and I asked them if they would document for me any time that they had refused a rate increase for any franchisee in the state of Florida. Now, I didn't get a response, and the reason I didn't get a response, I can just about tell you, they've never said no. And look, I understand the process, and I want our viewers to know I understand the process. Yes, we do need to. There are some things that we need, and the infrastructure is expensive, but we don't have the tools right now to know. And until recently, we haven't had anybody on the Public Services Commission that would say no. Now, I do want to tell you, and I don't have all the specific details, but 2 members of the Public Services Commission apparently was dabbling in a few things that was unsavory. Maybe going to a few too many lunches with power executives and things of that nature. One of them agreed to end their term early. One of them was kind of told it's time for you to go.
This was last year.
Last year. Also, at the same time, as you can imagine, the Public Services Commission has a staff of people that work for them. And apparently the staff members had given access to outsiders to the email system that they use. And other franchise owners, members, were coming into the email system. And I understand, I don't know what the total number was, but there were some staff members that were let go. And I tell you that so that you will understand that this is supposed to be a held separate organization. They are supposed to be independent. They are not supposed to allow themselves to be pushed around, but had gotten so bad. And ladies and gentlemen, when it gets so bad that your government steps in and removes people from positions, it's 100 times worse than you and I'll ever know it was. And so we saw some movement there. And 2 new people. Well, one person has already been on there. Mr. Stevens was added, and he's already been placed on there. There's another gentleman, Mr. Kelly. He's not yet confirmed, but he's supposed to be confirmed. And I want to read. It's a fairly short letter here. This is from the Times Herald Tallahassee Bureau. Mary Ellen Kloss wrote this. Tallahassee. With the arrival of Charlie Crist's letter endorsing J.R. Kelly, the public advocate in utility rate cases, Senate leaders now appear to be backing off attempts to challenge Kelly's confirmation. Instead, they're shifting their focus to challenge the confirmation of Crist's new appointees to the commission, Steve Stevens and David Clement, and to pass legislation that increases the qualifications for sitting commissioners. An incoming Senate President, Mike Herodopoulos, said he wants to be sure Clement and Stevens are qualified for what he considers a complex job involving minutia of policy. He said, remember, this is the words of your future Senate President, Mike Herodopoulos. He said he wants to learn more about Clement and Stevens. All I know is what I read in the newspaper. That one guy was a columnist and the other guy was a bar owner. Well, the article goes on to say Mr. Stevens was an accountant for the Escambia County. He was the president of Florida CPAs. And Clement was the head of the Brayton and Herald editorial board for almost 30 years. And I'm kind of troubled by this kind of stuff.
I don't know if what's worse is sort of misrepresenting a little bit what they actually did, or the sort of disdain that it sounds like he holds for honest work.
Right. Well,
running a bar.
Apparently, Mr. Stevens has taken a stand recently.
Yeah.
And he voted against an increase.
Right.
And now, folks, I'm just reading between the lines here, but I think I'm getting pretty good at reading between the lines. You finally get somebody that's truly an advocate of the people. Stevens votes against an increase.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the incoming Senate President, Mike Herodopoulos, he's trying to push those guys out.
He's obviously not qualified.
And, look, Mike, our incoming Senate President, we the people have had enough of the games that are being played down there at the Public Services Commission. Let me point out to you that in the year that Gulf Power increased their rates by 21% in 1 year, the Public Services Commission did not even have a public hearing in the Panhandle where those increases took place. They just stayed over there in Tallahassee. They had a hearing in Tallahassee to discuss it. We have finally got a representative from our area, and you're going to try to gum it up. And to be quite honest with you, I believe that Mr. Stevens is a hero. He owns a bar. Okay, well, he's a small business owner.
Right, exactly.
He's a CPA, a certified public accountant.
Right.
A guy who's had many and varied interest in his life, who has decided to serve the people, although he's getting a nice salary for it. But he's standing up to some of this kind of stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper and get ready to write something down, because we want to help you with something. But let me say this to you, Mr. Herodopoulos. Back off. Back off. Let some people get on the Public Services Commission that will be consumer advocates. Have you not forgotten what they're there for? They are not there serving at the bequest of the power company, the water company, the phone company, or the cable company. They are supposed to be our independent advocates to protect the consumers from abuse. It's just one more sorry chapter coming out of Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah.
When we finally get somebody who's going to stand up. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you right now, I will guarantee you that Mr. Stevens is probably going to take abuse that you and I won't ever know about for that first no vote. But he did the right thing. We need to support him. And people like Mike Herodopoulos needs to get on the right train and get his act in order.
Well, and I imagine in some quarters in the power community that having a CPA accountant on that kind of a board
Makes them a little nervous, maybe?